This is how you're going to take the next step. This is how you're going to try to turn this into a positive. This is how you're going to make things better for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. The biggest thing for me is I really want to do a lot of grief awareness visits, foundations. I mean, I know you do the Smile Zone Foundation too, so saw you there this year. So that's a big thing I want to do. But the biggest thing for me, I did a grief awareness visit when I was in Buffalo. I had some time off, so I went to go visit this grief awareness place that just opened. It was 2 months, freshly open. And they let me come in and talk to all these kids and families that have gone through so much in their life. And the biggest thing that I want to get across is, yeah, it sucks to lose someone, but you got to remember that the good memories you guys had. And a thing that I always say is I only had 16 years with my mom, 15 years with my mom, but those are going to be, some of the best 16 years of my life, because all the good things that we've been through. And, I'm just going to remember my mom for who she was, and I want to carry that legacy on. She was walking in every room smiling, lighting up a room. She was going through cancer, but she was still the happiest person in the house. So there's a lot of things that my mom has taught me that I want to go on and do. And I know when I do these visits, she's looking down, smiling at me. And I think the biggest thing people do is when they grieve, they like to keep it in. I want them to know that there's other people in their same situation that they have to, talk out. And I know a lot of people grieve differently, and, maybe it's not their favorite thing to do is talk out, but I encourage them to try to, talk out as best as they can, because it definitely helps more when you can meet people that have gone through it, similar stuff. Like, Elliot, if I was talking to you, we can, see how you went through it and how I went through it, and, some of the similarities we had, and, what you did to cope with all that stuff. So, I really encourage people to talk out and, that they're not alone.
Excellent.
So Matthew, I really just am curious hearing you talk about how you're handling all that's going on at this point in your life, the calmness you speak of. Like, it would make sense when you get to maybe Elliot's age, a little later on in life, that much more life experience.
21 years old.
Thanks, Kyle.
21
yeah,
years old.
Thanks a lot, Kyle. Thanks a lot.
I didn't say a number. But when you have a little more experience in life, it makes sense to be able to approach it with that kind of vision. But for you at 18 to look at it that way, it really is fascinating, and I just would love to know how you got to that.
Yeah, I think me, my dad and brother, we all take it a little bit differently. My dad and brother, I love talking about my mom. I also think it helps when I can relay on the game a bit. My brother's working, he's starting a new job, it's stressful, where, I'm doing something, hockey, I want to grow up, I've been playing it since I was a kid. I get to rely on it that way. But me and my family are super close, me and my dad and brother, and we have each other's backs along the way. And, whether we're watching videos and we're crying, it's more happy tears that we miss her, but we're still super strong. But for me, I love talking about my mom and the person she was. And if anyone asks about my mom, I'll sit there for hours and they'll know exactly who she was, because I love talking about her. But for me, when we lost my mom, I remember going back home to take a break because I went to go see her at the hospital, and then there was the funeral and everything, so I was there. And then I remember going up to my dad and saying, would she want me to go back and play for her? Would she want me to stay? And I knew exactly my dad was going to say, go back and play, because she wouldn't want you to stay at home, be sad and grieve. She wanted me to go and play, and I know she was watching me along the way. And I know my mom's always with me no matter what, and I look for little things like signs, and when she passed I saw a lot of ladybugs, so things like that. You see a lot of signs down the road, and I know she's always with me, but she's in a better headspace where she's not suffering, and she's happy up there, but I know she's right beside me in spirit. So I think that puts me at ease a little bit more.
What's your brother's name?
Jonathan. He's 9.5 years older than me. Mm-hmm. So he's 27. He played in the OHL for 5 years. So so I guess that's how I kind of got into hockey, was watching him grow up.
And what's his new job? What's he doing now?
So he's working in business. He's in sales. So he's working in Mississauga. So every time you start a new job, it's a little bit stressful, but he has such a good mindset, and he's already doing a lot better than he was at the start, right? So he's going to do good, and he loves it.
Now, is Jonathan a good salesman? Is he a good salesman?
He is. He is. A lot of hockey players love talking. My family loves talking. So he's a good salesman. He can, get you some stuff.
All right. So Jonathan Schaefer, if people out there, if you need stuff, Jonathan Schaefer.
Johnny's the guy.
Is the guy.
Johnny's
Johnny
the guy.
is the guy.
He'll get you on those.
Now, Kevin BX asked you a little bit about Todd, your dad, and I have heard your dad is quite a character, that when the players get together on hockey trips and things like that, Todd Schaefer is usually the ringleader. Is this true?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty true. Sometimes I'd maybe say it's not true, so hopefully people believe me, but yeah, it's true. It's pretty true. Whether we're at Team Canada events, anywhere, he also loves to take his shirt off. I think that's a go-to.
Yes, I've heard this.
Maybe his birthday or something down the road, I might need to get him a tie down so it can, cause the shirt not to come off. But I think I'll find a way to take it off anyways. But yeah, he's a character. He's a great person. He cares, but everyone loves him because they think he's so funny, but I'm so used to it. So I see him as just the same jokes over and over, but other people, when they meet him, they're laughing at all the jokes he's making.
I've heard that. I just wonder, I've heard your dad is a great guy. I just wonder at all, Matthew, if you ever see him and there's a point I know where this is going. It's my cue to exit.
Oh, 100%. So he'd always do these jokes where if new kids came to our team, they'd do jokes on the new parents and all that stuff. And once he, brings it up, I'm like, oh, here we go. And then all the kids come and watch because they want to see, Toddy do some jokes or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of go-tos where I know when he opens his mouth, I'm like, I know where this is going.
Well, it's funny because Matthew, if you know this or not, so David Amber, our colleague, is often a punching bag on this podcast from time to time, and I heard there is a roundabout connection with him, your dad, and Tom Ghilardi, and a good joke that they played on David not too long ago. So
your dad was there for that one?
I think what happened was my dad. So Frank Ivankovic knows them, and my dad got it from Frank Ivankovic to tell him. So my dad wasn't a part of it. He was just passing the message on.
Oh, okay.
And then Amber was kind of like, oh, you were a part of that? And then I was like, no, I wasn't a part of that. I was just passing it along. But yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's fantastic.
Matthew, the Combine, this year, I guess it was even more intense because there's no central draft. What was it like for you? What were some of the things that really stood out?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. The Combine, it's so well run. When you go there, you're seeing all your friends and guys you've played on Team Canada with, and you haven't seen them in a while, but it's your last event before the draft. You're meeting all new GMs, teams, people you've seen throughout the whole season, whether you're doing Zoom calls and stuff. So you get to meet new people, but you also get to see people that you've seen throughout the season. But yeah, it's amazing. You got your testing, you got everything. So it was so well run, and I really enjoyed it.
Who was the most intense team?
I think a big one was Montreal. They would ask you scenarios. They had their doc in there, and the doc would ask you all these scenarios, and he'd try to get in your head, and it was funny. It gets your mind thinking on some of the things where, if you're in a desert and, one guy has water, but you have a baseball bat, what are you doing? and the next water is 24 hours away. So, you're not making it. So
what did you do? What did you say?
Well, so one of my buddies got that question, and they're like, I'm smoking the guy in the head with the baseball bat, but I think the other guy was Sidney Crosby, for example. So it's you're going to hit Sydney in the head to get water, or you're going to share. So I guess they're seeing, what you think there, but they get their mind thinking. So I'd probably say Montreal.
Okay, so I have to ask you now.
Yeah.
If it was you and Sidney Crosby in a desert, and Sidney Crosby had water and you had a bat, what would you do?
Yeah, I'd probably have to hit him off